Hello and welcome to the Permanent Jewelry Pro Guaranteed Sales Machine. In this workshop, we're going to dive into the systems I use to create an over six-figure business and have guaranteed sales at all of my events. If you don't know me, my name is Lena. I'm a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur with over 18 years of experience. I've built a multiple six-figure business. I have a passion for jewelry design. I design and make all of my jewelry in the Bay Area, and I have a store in San Ramon. And I've successfully added permanent jewelry to my existing business for the last 2 years with both my retail shop and events. I live in the Bay Area with my husband and son. I'm a huge astrology nerd. And I founded Women Made in 2015, which helps other women business entrepreneurs with guidance and support. In this workshop, we're going to go over what permanent jewelry is, where are you getting your sales, my proven strategy. We'll talk about tech essentials and promotion, and then resources on how to contact me for questions and support. This class is for you if you have or are interested in starting a permanent jewelry business. You want to make guaranteed sales at every single event that you do, and you want to learn how technology can advance your business. So what is permanent jewelry? Permanent jewelry is a piece of jewelry, usually bracelet, anchor, necklace, that is welded on using a welding machine. When you're starting your business, you want to decide what you're offering. Are you going to be offering bracelets, anklets, and necklaces, rings? I typically don't offer rings, but I offer all the other things. I also offer handmade jewelry, so that's part of my offering as well. I have resources on how to find items that you can sell in addition to your permanent jewelry just to upsell your pieces. What materials are you using? Are you going to be using sterling silver, stainless steel, gold fill, solid gold? You want to decide all of this. Some of this will depend on your budget and who your clientele is. Where are you sourcing your materials? Do you have a vendor list that you're going to source your chains, your charms, the different types of stones that you might want to offer, or maybe initials? Typically, I rotate between vendors depending on what it is I'm buying. So my favorite resources are Rio Grande for chains and jump rings. I like Stellar for charms. I like Gempact for charms. I like Ross Metals for charms. And my offerings typically are silver and solid gold, but I will offer gold fill every now and then. And then what type of welder are you using? I'm a huge fan of Sunstone. I think they have great products. I think their customer service is amazing. So I always buy the Orion welder from them, and I've bought different versions of that. So I would explore different options in terms of the welder, if you need a microscope or not. I like the microscope. I think it's guaranteed that your weld is going to be perfect. So decide on what it is you want and what your budget is. And then where are you getting sales? Who is your audience? Are you serving a younger community? Are you serving women who want solid gold pieces that are going to last a lifetime? Decide who you want to serve, and then start tailoring your brand to those people. Where do they hang out? Think of your customer avatar. Where would they hang out on a typical day? Where do they drink coffee? Where do they shop? What is it that they like to style their permanent jewelry with? Are they getting anklets because they are going on summer vacation and they want to spruce up their look? Kind of get in the head of your customer. And then how much are they willing to spend? You want to come up with a pricing formula that makes sense to you. But also think about if they are willing to spend a little bit more on a nice piece of jewelry, if you want to offer the solid gold pieces, or if it makes more sense to offer gold fill and silver. Usually, when it comes to materials, I do not recommend plated jewelry, plated materials at all, because with permanent jewelry, it'll fade very fast, and we want our customers to be happy. So I would recommend, if you're not going to do solid gold, the next best thing would be gold fill. And then where do you want to start selling? Are we going to be doing in-store pop-ups like Anthropologie, Madewell, maybe some of your local boutiques that are having pop-ups? Do you have a favorite boutique that you like to shop at that you might be willing to approach and say, hey, I have a permanent jewelry business and I'd love to do a pop-up with your customers? Because this would be a great way to build an audience, build a community, and it's a win-win on both ends. Do you like to do markets? Craft shows and farmers markets can be huge. There's a lot of foot traffic typically, and you're going to reach a broader audience. You might not have your specific audience, so you want to make sure that you're signing up for the markets and craft shows that attract your audience. And that goes back to, who is your audience? Are they going to events, brewery events? Are they going to wine tastings? You want to go to events where your audience will be. Sororities are another huge one. You're capturing an audience that want what you have. It's a big group of people, and if they're having events or parties, this could be a great way to grow your business. Bachelorette parties and bridal events are huge. If you are going to be doing that, I would recommend having a price list in advance where you have a package going. Maybe you give a free bracelet to the bride, maybe you give a free charm to the bride, or maybe there's a discount if they reach a certain number of people. So I would have your packages already ready to go so that when someone approaches you for bachelorette parties or bridal events, you're ready to go with that information. And then this is what I have, which is my own retail location, which is great because people find me all the time. They walk by, and I have a huge sign, two signs actually, in my window and an A-frame that talk about permanent jewelry. And I'll go into what I do specifically to get them inside, but they will typically see the sign and they can book right from the sign. If the store is closed and they can't walk in, there's a way for them to book their appointment, or they walk in, I show them all the chain options, and then they book there. So having a retail location, especially one with good foot traffic, is a nice thing to have too if your business is big enough that can support a retail location. Another idea is your home. You can, if you feel comfortable with your clients coming to your home, you can have a little space within your home for permanent jewelry. And I would only do this if you feel safe enough to bring people you don't know into your home. So I would say do this one with caution. Maybe this is a good one if you're serving your family and friends mostly, or if you have a community that you feel you trust. And you can also reach out to nail salons, hair salons, other boutiques, and ask them if you can rent space within their businesses, because that's a nice way to have your own space without the commitment of a full-on long-term lease. And then where are your customers? So I want you to take a minute to write down 3 events that you can think of, or pop-ups, or businesses that you think would be a good place to do permanent jewelry. And this could be your local coffee shop. This could be a boutique that you like to shop at, or a nail salon that you like to visit. And I want you to download my pop-up guide and start using that to organize your events, or write down the ideas that you have when it comes to these events. Because you got to start somewhere. You got to start reaching out to people and start booking events. So start writing down your ideal client and where they're going to be, and start at that point. And then decide what terms work for you. So typically for in-store pop-ups, you want to figure out what your costs are. What could you pay to make the event worth the time? Usually, from my experience, when it comes to boutiques, they want a percentage. Sometimes they want a flat fee, but I don't usually agree to that if it's a flat fee and a percentage. So it's one or the other is what makes me feel comfortable. And you have to decide what is going to make you feel comfortable in terms of payment wise. Some people will not take any fees because they know this is a nice thing to have for their business. But to be fair, if you're there, you might need to pay a fee as well. So decide what makes sense to you. For my business, 10% is the max that I would agree to. I've had boutiques in the past ask for up to 30%, which to me is a bit high, and I would not do that even if the actual business was, a place that I love and I want to be there, but business-wise, it just doesn't make sense. Markets and craft shows usually have a flat fee, so that's something where it's not really negotiable. You're just going to have to sign up for the event and figure out how many people you need to serve to make that worth your time. And large chain stores like Anthropologie usually don't charge. That's been my experience. I've done several Anthropologie events at different locations, and they don't charge. They seem to want to have a maker community and be able to offer that to their clientele. So it's a win-win. And if you're wondering how to approach Anthropologie or a big chain store, I usually ask for the manager and talk to them and just introduce myself and be very personable and ask, who runs their event program, and just get in touch with them. And just be as genuine as you can and say, I really love Anthropologie. I want to be able to pop up, and this is what I have to offer. And then go from there. And usually they will have events already lined up. And so it's just a matter of where they want to plug you in. And then if you're doing a retail space, sometimes they'll want a flat fee and possibly a percentage of sales. So that's something you might want to consider if that makes sense to you. So my proven strategy, I will walk you through this step-by-step approach for guaranteeing sales at each event. And this is great because you're going to be able to repeat these systems. Once you set them up, you are going to be able to repeat them over and over again. So the time involved at the beginning might be, some chunk of time, but after that, it'll be very easy breezy. And just to go back, I just want to say that I've done events where I haven't used the system and my sales are not nearly as high as when I do. So I just want to say that this is something that I've started to implement as I notice that when I don't implement it, I don't make as much money. So this is something that is super important to me. Even when I know I'm signing up for an event or store that has super high foot traffic, if I don't use the system, I tend to make less. So this system is going to help you guarantee your sales. So first and foremost, we're going to start with visuals because that's kind of your foundation. You're going to want to have beautiful visuals of your jewelry. You can do your own photo shoot with a nice camera on your phone. You can also hire a photographer if you feel like that's worth the investment. But what you're going to do is have a collection of nice visuals for your branding. Then you're going to set up your Canva account. If you have a logo, great. If not, you can create a logo within Canva. And you're going to start creating your collection of materials. So for example, you're going to want flyers. You're going to want Eventbrite headers. You're going to want social media posts. You're going to want big posters if you're going to be using it in a shop or at your events. So start creating these, the collection of these things. And when you go into my technology tutorials, you're going to see tutorials on how to create all of these things. So I'm going to walk you through the steps first here, and then you want to go back to the technology tutorials, and I'll walk you through the steps of how to create each of these things. It's super easy, and once you create one thing, you can actually copy and duplicate. And step 2 is you're going to create your place for taking reservations. So that means you're going to either use Eventbrite, Square, Acuity, depending on what your booking system is. I have used Eventbrite and Square, and the benefits of Square is that the percentage transaction fee is less, so that's why I like that, and also you can integrate it with your marketing. Eventbrite is great too because it's also a search engine, so if you're on there, you can actually, people can find you for permanent jewelry, which is awesome. So again, in the tutorials, you're going to find a Square and an Eventbrite walkthrough, and I'll show you how to create your systems there. And what it is you're going to want to take reservations on these platforms. So if you're doing an event from 11 to 5, you're going to have reservations marked from 11 all the way to 5. You might want to have a little bit of time in between where you can take walk-ins, because I love to do that. I like to take, a few appointments. That way I know I have a guaranteed sales. I know that I'm going to make a certain amount, and then everyone else is just an addition. So it depends how you want to do it. If you want to be booked back to back, that's great. And I've done that before too. But sometimes you want to have a little bit of leeway so people can walk in and take an appointment. You're going to want to create a QR code as well, because you want this QR code on all of your marketing materials. You want it on your flyer. If you're doing an in-store pop-up at Anthropologie or your neighborhood boutique, you want to ask them, hey, can I put a flyer in your store so I can promote this event? And have that QR code on the flyer so that people can scan it and book their appointment right away, because that's key. You want to grab that appointment in real time. On Square, you're able to create the QR code automatically, which is awesome. You don't have to go through a third-party website to create it. So I'm going to walk you through that when we do the Square tutorial. Next, you're going to start posting on social media. I like to use Instagram, but you don't need to use Instagram. If you prefer Facebook or TikTok, that's great too, but my audience is on Instagram. So I will post a still or a video, typically a video, because Reels are trending. Reels are really big. And I will make sure to find trending music. If you don't know how to do that, you're going to want to go into your Instagram and click on the Reels section. You're going to want to then click on, whatever is coming up. And you're going to, excuse me. So you're going to go to the Reels section. You're going to click on the audio of some of the trending Reels. And then once you click on the audio, you're going to go up on the upper right-hand corner and click trending. And then you're going to see all your trending music, and use one of those trending music items that are under 10,000 Reels, because you know that those are moving up in your trending section. So you're going to click on one of those. You're going to use that audio, and that way people can find you a lot faster, and you'll be moving up the ranks in the Reels. Then you're going to want to make sure to have a clear call to action. So in this example, I'm showing a video of me walking into Anthropologie, taking a video of the QR code that's on the sign that I've created, and then booking an appointment to show people in my direct neighborhood who might be coming to this event how to book their appointment if they're in the store. And this is very specific to if they're in the store. And so you're going to want to do something like that. You could also do a post where you say, comment below, the word jewelry. And then from that point, you're going to send them a link to the booking page. And something really useful is ManyChat. You can use ManyChat to automate this process. So with ManyChat, the word that signals the automation, for example, jewelry, will then automatically send them a direct message with the link. And so that will automate your process. So you're not responding to every single person that comments. So look into ManyChat and look into the trending music and reels. And those are two different ways that you can actually be ranked a little bit higher in the search. And then next, and this is optional, is that you can boost your social media with paid ads. And I like to do this just to give myself an extra guarantee that I'm going to get those sales. And again, I put $50 here, but that doesn't have to be your budget. You can do $5 or $10. You can kind of experiment with different numbers. And what you want to do is make sure you are being very specific on who your audience is. So in this example, I have jewelry lovers in the East Bay. I put women ages 18 to 54, but actually I think that's a little too broad. I think I would have narrowed that down to 30 to 54 because that's generally my audience. My audience is in that age range. And, I put an address so that we know, like, that's the Anthropologie I'm going to be at, and what are their interests: jewelry design, custom, anthropology, shopping. You want to think about who your audience is and really create that audience in your ads so that they can target those specific people. You're also going to want to email all past customers, create a newsletter. I use MailChimp. I also hear Flowdesk is really good, but have a MailChimp account where you create a newsletter that talks to all your past jewelry, permanent jewelry customers, and letting them know you're going to be at this next location and here's where you can book your appointment. Because typically, if you have done a good job with customer service and creating a beautiful piece for them, they might want to come back for more. You could also utilize text message marketing. A lot of these platforms will have text message marketing as part of their offering. So if that's something you want to do, that's a great thing. And you're going to want to create funnels to create repeat customers. So if someone signs up for your newsletter, you're going to want to have an automatic email that goes out to them saying, thank you so much for signing up. Here's my next events that are coming up, or here's an offer for your next permanent jewelry. Here's $10 off, or 10% off, whatever feels comfortable for you. That way, you can create a repeat client. Also, if you are offering other products, this is a great way to say, hey, shop my online store. I have these beautiful necklaces that are for sale. I've made, XYZ. And of course, that's not for everybody. But if you do have other things for sale, make sure they know it and make sure they know where to find that. And again, we'll create, I'll show you some of these examples in my technology tutorials. And next is start creating blog posts on your website, because that's going to be a great way for people to find you. If you're doing an event in, let's just say, Las Vegas, and you want to say, use permanent jewelry in Las Vegas as your keyword, that's great. I would also add any neighboring town. That way, if they are in a neighboring town and there's no permanent jewelry in that town, they can come to your pop-up in Las Vegas. So, permanent jewelry in Henderson, Nevada, or permanent jewelry, wherever. So just to use me as an example, my storefront is located in San Ramon, which is in the East Bay in California. And we have Oakland and Berkeley. So I'll use other neighboring towns. I'll put in my keywords: permanent jewelry in Oakland, permanent jewelry in Berkeley, permanent jewelry in Danville, permanent jewelry in Alamo. These are all places that are nearby and they're close enough to get to San Ramon. So if someone wanted to search for permanent jewelry in Alamo, they might not find that, but they might find permanent jewelry in San Ramon. So just make use of your keywords, and you might want to make a blog post that says, I'm doing this event here in Anthropologie in San Francisco, and these are, plug in all those keywords so people can find you. And last but not least, I am here for you. So if you have any questions, I'm here to support you. I want to answer everything you have. So send me an email at lena@lenashatar.com, and I'm happy to support you in any way that I can. You're also welcome to follow my Women Made Instagram, women.made. And, there's going to be tips on business stuff there. We're going to come out with a Women Made collective very shortly. So stay tuned for that. Because we're creating more opportunities for women to support each other in business. It was great talking to you today, and I hope this workshop helped.